Hello again, and thank you for joining me on Bills2cents.com. It is time to give you the late pick four play on Travers Day, guaranteed $1 million late pick four, all graded stakes races. You have three grade ones, including the Test, King's Bishop, and of course the Travers. Sprinkle into that the Grade II Ballston Spa, and you have four graded stakes races with a guaranteed $1 million pool. An absolutely enticing play for all you handicappers out there, and I'm here to help you with that play and give you a reasonable ticket that you can afford to bet in this race. And we will start with the ninth race with the Test Stakes Grade 1 $500,000 purse. Ninth race on the card. The test goes off at 4:05 Eastern Time. Now keep in mind also I'm giving you these picks on the night before Travers Day, so there may be some scratches and changes, so things may change, so do keep an eye out for that as well. So I'm basing this off of the entries before we see any scratches or changes. So the test features a field of 9 in here, and I have a tough time taking my eye off number 8, My Happy Face, who is 3-1 in the morning line for trainer Chad Brown. Joel Rosario is scheduled to ride, but he was injured on the Friday card at Saratoga. We'll see if he rides on Saturday or not. But regardless of the rider, I think My Happy Face will be tough to beat in here. Going 7 furlongs in this race, where this is a question mark of a distance for a lot of horses in this race, but I don't think the distance will be an issue for My Happy Face, who is turning back to this distance after going 1 mile and an eighth in the Coaching Club American Oaks, finishing second to the 3-year-old filly Princess of Silmar, who in all likelihood will be the division winner with her wins in that CCA Oaks and then with the Alabama Stakes as well. But My Happy Face, that was her first time going 2 turns in the Coaching Club American Oaks. Now Chad Brown gets her back to the 1-turn, 7 furlong sprint, a distance I think she will fare very well in. And again, we'll see if Joel Rosario is riding or on Saturday's card or not. But regardless, My Happy Face is a horse that has to be on your tickets in the multi-race wagers in here. I'm not going to use number 5, Sweet Lulu, who is 5-2 in the morning line, enters this race a perfect 3 for 3. She's coming in off 3 wins on a synthetic track. I don't know whether or not she can transfer that to the Saratoga dirt. And also, too, this is her first graded race. I mean, she had a maiden win, an allowance win, and then an optional claiming win. Can she step up and win a Grade 1 coming east? I don't know whether or not she can, so I'm not going to play her in this race at 5-2 in the morning line. So if she wins, the pick 4 for me is already done. I'm going to use 8, My Happy Face, really looking to use her a lot in here. For backup in this race, I went to the number 1, Irish Loot, who is 12-1 in the morning line. Bit of a price in here. Reason being, I think the 7 furlong distance could help this horse out a bit, who ran 3rd in the prior race earlier here in the Saratoga meet, finishing behind Lighthouse Bay and Wildcat Lily, who are both in this race as well. But going back and watching that race, I felt like those two horses, Lighthouse Bay and Wildcat Lily, I felt like 6 furlongs was about as far as they wanted to go, maybe 6.5. But I don't think either of those horses want the extra furlong, going 7 furlongs in this race. So maybe Irish Loop will pick up the pieces in this race. It is also worth noting to point out that Irish Loop broke from post number 1 in the prior race, and now the horse is doing it again in the test stakes as well. So the horse is used to breaking down on the rail, gets Robbie Alvarado back in the saddle for the race. So in the first leg of the pick 4, the test stakes, I'm using 2 horses in here, mostly centering around the 8, My Happy Face, but also using number 1, Irish Lou at a price as well. So 1 and 8 for me in the 9th race for that pick 4 play. Turning to the 10th race, it is the Ballston Spa. They are going 1 mile and a 16th on the inner turf course. Post time for this race is 4:38 Eastern Time in here. And we will probably have the scratch of the 9 Skyfall, who is a main track only. We should not have this race moved to dirt at all. So it's going to be most likely a field of 8 in here. And this is a very difficult race. And breaking this race down, you have to look at horses that are going to go to the lead and your closers. Your closers, most likely Hungry Island and Center Court. Horses towards the lead will be Pianist and Laughing, who are breaking from the inside in here. And even though Laughing won the Diana earlier in the meet, I'm not going to use this horse in here. I just think there's too much class with the closers, and also too, I think you're going to get better value with Pianist, who's breaking right next to Laughing and Stall 2 at 5-1 in the morning line. And Ms. Ida to me is a horse you can't ignore at 8-1. Sean Bridgman comes in for this mount, doing very well for this barn. A horse that I don't think you can leave off your tickets at a decent price at 8-1. So 2, 3, 4 Center Court and 5 Hungry Island for me. I'm going to use both closers in here. The pace scenario should be interesting because I think we'll get a decent pace in here, but nothing really quick for Hungry Island and Center Court to close into. And Center Court, who has been so consistent in the career, really just did not show up in the Diana, but I like the jockey change to John Velasquez for this one. And Hungry Island gets Javier Castellano back aboard, and Shug McGahee, the trainer, says this horse likes to have a lot of time off in between races. We haven't seen this horse since the Belmont Stakes undercard when Hungry Island ran third in the Just a Game, which was a Grade I. So I like this horse in here, though, who is 5-2 in the morning line. So I'm hoping that one of the closers or Pianist or Ms. Ida at a decent price can get it. So 4 horses for me in the Ballston Spa, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for me again. Pianist, Ms. Ida, Center Court, and Hungry Island. So I'm using half the field here in the Ballston Spa. Turning to the 11th race, and this race really caused me to do a lot of head scratching. 14 horses entered in the King's Bishop, 7 furlong sprint, Grade I. Post time is 5:10. And this is a race that has speed, and more speed. Mentor Kane is a horse that will probably be on or near the lead, and I think the horse that we're all expecting to see go right to the front is the horse coming over from California, and that's Let 'Em Shine, who ran in the Woody Stevens on the Belmont undercard. And the closers in that race, 40 Tails and Declan's Warrior, who are also in this race, closed into that pace and were able to run 1-2 in there. Let 'Em Shine does get an improving jockey change, though, to Mike Smith in this race, and maybe Mike Smith will be able to slow the pace down somewhat with this horse. But Let 'Em Shine is going to be on the lead. It's just a matter of can this horse hang on in this stretch. And my guess is with 13 other horses in the race, my answer is no. I just don't think that this horse can go 7 furlongs wire to wire with this many horses in the field. Really a difficult race to handicap in here. But I am hoping for a pace breakdown in here, and I'm going to go with some closers. It's hard to ignore 40 Tails in here, who won the Amsterdam earlier in the meet. Declan's Warrior did not fire in that race, but was consistent before. The good thing about that, though, is you will get a good price on Declan's Warrior, 5-1 in the morning line, and with so many other betting interests in here, you'll get some very good quality horses at very reasonable prices. And I think Declan's Warrior will be one of those horses. Don't expect the odds to fluctuate too much with Declan's Warrior at 5-1. So again, I will use 40 Tails, who may go off as the post-time favorite, but just based on the form, you cannot ignore this horse in the multi-race wagers. And again, I will use Declan's Warrior. 2 other horses I'm going to use in here. The 3 Capo Bastoni. Rod Ortiz Jr., the jockey for Todd Pletcher. This horse was 7th in the Woody Stevens, the race that I mentioned earlier where 40 Tails and Declan's Warrior closed into. But I just think that this horse at a price can improve here. His last win was back in February at Gulfstream Park, so it has been a while since this horse has won. But he's my long shot play in here in the pick 4. And I also like Majestic Hussar for Jose Lescano. This horse tried to go longer in the Fountain of Youth, the race won by Orb during the Kentucky Derby prep season. But then he turned back to the 6 furlongs earlier this meet at Saratoga and won that race. Majestic Hussar, 10-1 in the morning line. And Majestic Hussar and Capo Bastoni are my 2 longer shot plays in this race, but I am going to use the 2 closers as well, 40 Tails and Declan's Warrior. So the numbers are 2, 3, 5, and 8 for me in the King's Bishop. So 2 horses in the test. I'm going to use 4 in the Ballston Spa and 4 here in the King's Bishop. I'm not going to use Mentor Kane, who's going to probably be on or near the lead in here. The horse probably would have won the Amsterdam had Mentor Kane not gone so wide at the top of the stretch. But again, I'm expecting a big pace breakdown in this race, and I'm looking for closers to finish here and win the race. Now, the one thing about that is there's 14 horses, so it's not going to be easy for these closers to run and get running room for. So we will expect to see these jockeys be aggressive, but with Declan's Warrior getting John Velasquez and Joel Rosario scheduled to ride 40 tails, two of the top jocks on the jockey colony at Saratoga, I expect them to outdo some of the other jockeys in here, and one of those two horses, hopefully, and then maybe the long shot in Capo Bastoni or Majestic Hustar to get to the winner's circle. And now we will turn to the Travers Stakes, the final race of the guaranteed $1 million pick 4. Call me crazy. I'm not going to use Orb, and I'm not going to use Verrazano in here. I will use Palace Malice, who is 5-2 in the morning line, and then I'm going to try two decent priced horses as well. The 5 Will Take Charge and the 9 Transparent. Both horses 10-1 in the morning line. Verrazano I am against in this race, and Orb is a horse that could win. I like Orb over Verrazano in here, but I don't know if Orb can close in here. Will Take Charge, to me, is a horse that will really like this 1.25 mile distance. And I know Orb already has won a race at this distance. It's called the Kentucky Derby. But, to me, I'm looking for horses with more value in here. And I'm not going to play Orb or Verrazano in the multi-race wagers. So again, it's 5, 8, 9. Will Take Charge, Palace Malice, and Transparent for me in the Travers for the guaranteed $1 million late pick 4. So just to recap, I'm going to use numbers 1 and 8 in the test, numbers 2, 3, 4, 5 in the Ballston Spa, numbers 2, 3, 5, and 8 in the 11th race, the King's Bishop, and numbers 5, 8, and 9 in the Travers Stakes. For the $2 bet, it's going to cost you $192, which is a pretty expensive bet. But all things considered, in the way that some handicappers and bettors play the races, really not that much. It's a relatively cheaper alternative, and also, too, you could easily play the 50-cent pick 4, which will significantly lower the cost of your wager. So again, hopefully that can come through. Again, using 2 horses in the test, 4 in the Ballston Spa, 4 more in the King's Bishop, and 3 in the Travers. Total of $192 for that guaranteed $1 million late pick 4. Thank you so much for watching this preview of the Travers, as well as this guaranteed my preview of the guaranteed $1 million late pick 4. Best of luck at the track on Travers Day. I'll see you again soon.